Hey, what's up guys? Today I want to talk about the psoas muscle. Now the psoas muscle is extremely important and it is commonly overlooked, not stretched enough. And if you have weakness in the psoas muscle, you're going to have endless problems. You're going to have compression on your thoracic spine because you might have one tight side and one weak side, which causes you to tilt when you walk. That in conjunction with a tight QL. Now the psoas muscle is a muscle that connects from your lumbar spine through your hip and attaches to the top of your leg. Now this muscle is responsible for flexion, hip flexion. So if you're doing crunches or you're lifting your legs, this motion here, bringing your leg up, the psoas is responsible for. So if one side is weak, you might feel a little bit off balance. You might have a lot of lower back pain, feeling like you're getting a lot of pinched nerves in your lower spine into your sciatica. That's because of the muscle weakness in the psoas. Now, there's a few things we can do to test if you have a tight psoas, and there's a few things we can do to test if it's strong or weak. Because you might have one side that's tight, one side that's loose, but that tight side could be the stronger side, and you could have that misbalance where one side is tight but stronger, so it's pulling much more on the one side, causing you to tilt and putting extra compression onto your thoracic spine at the top, onto your neck, and it's going to cause a lot of issues with walking. It's going to cause hip pain. You could have knee problems. The list goes on. Now this muscle is quite a big muscle. It basically attaches the top half of your body to the lower half of your body. It's a very important muscle to work on. People only generally work on it when they have a problem, when they have an issue. So I'm going to show you a few things we can do. Very simple techniques you can do. It helps to have someone with you. It helps with the flexion. So what you want to do is you want to oppose that muscle and see how far back you can go, because that extends the muscle. Then we can check how tight it is. We're going to lay on the floor, lay it straight down, and you want to raise one leg at a time and see how high you can go. So we're going to raise one, keep it as straight as we can, get that height, and lift the other side. Now as you can see, my left side is much tighter than my right side. I cannot go as high. Right side can go a little bit higher, left side gets stuck right there, and I am having a little bit of lower back pain on my left side at the moment. So my left side is definitely tighter than my right side. Okay, so now what I want to do, I want to check how strong my psoas is. So if you can have someone push against your knee, you want to hold your psoas in a flex position up like this, and you want someone to push against it and you want to resist that. If I resist, my left side feels very weak at the moment. I've got no power there. Right side, much stronger than my left side. Okay, so as we can see, my psoas is tight on the left side, extremely tight. I can't extend my leg very far back, and it's also extremely weak. So I know which side to work now. I know which side to loosen and which side to strengthen. So I'm going to show you two things you can do at home, very simple, and it's going to sort you out. Get yourself to a bed. Lay right on the edge of the bed. You want to take your affected side, so it's my left side. We're going to lay it right on the edge, and you want to drop your leg down and try to keep it as straight as you can. What you want to do is create this extension into your hip flexors, pulling on your psoas and strengthening it by loosening it up. Hold it for a few seconds. You're going to feel it right deep into your lower back. If it doesn't feel like much, try maybe put a foam roller under you just to get that extra bit of extension into your leg. So try keep it a bit straight, drop it down as low as you can, and I can really feel it now. It's extremely tight at the moment. So just hold it for a few seconds. The next thing we want to do is we want to loosen up the muscles around it. Now it's hard to get into that muscle because of where it attaches. But what we can do, an effective move, is loosening up the glutes. You can use a foam roller or a ball. I like using both. If you don't have anything with you, what I like to do sometimes is just you make a fist and you place the fist right under you and just move around on your glute, and you'll probably find right there is a nasty little area of tightness. Wow. So keep that fist, put some pressure by just relaxing onto your fist or the ball or the foam roller, and just move around. Wow, that's quite tight. And you just want to loosen it up. Just roll back and forth over it. You can move your fist, just find where those tender areas are. Do this for a few minutes, you'll actually find, let me just give it a few more seconds, like even just that, which is very simple, you'll probably find that I can kick back a lot more. It's already feeling a bit better. So doing it properly, not just for 5 seconds like me, do it for at least a few minutes. Just roll, loosen up the glute, and you'll find that your extension is already improved vastly. Now, this is going to help you tilt your pelvis when you're sitting. Now, I've mentioned this in so many videos, and it's the same question that keeps coming up. When you're sitting and you don't have that correct pelvic tilt, which is your pelvis tilts just enough to align your spine, it takes all the pressure off your neck and your spine. And when you've got a tight QL and a tight psoas, everything is so tight that your pelvis doesn't know how to relax. So you're probably sitting at an angle, and then you're putting extra strain onto your lower back by leaning forward and exerting the hip flexors because you're straining the whole time. And what I found with a lot of people that I'm helping is that when they're sitting for long periods of time, they're getting pain in their knees. And now that sounds very weird, but because the pelvis is not tilting properly and you're leaning forward to try to keep your back straight, think about it. You're pulling on your hip flexors so much that your whole knee and all the muscles, your quads, are pulling on your knee to help your hip stay in that state. So you're using so much force in your pelvis, your QLs, your psoas, everything's pulling tight, and because your body's on a kinetic chain, your knees start to hurt when you're sitting down. It's the weirdest thing, but it's all connected. So if you're experiencing any of these symptoms, stretch your QLs and stretch your psoas. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is stretching your hip flexors, because stretching your hip flexors is going to help you dramatically improve the function of your psoas, the stability and the strength. Common stretch is being on your haunches like this, putting your one foot forward, and this keeps the stability of your hips. So you're not overextending that psoas and hurting yourself. You can only go to a certain point. So you want to put your foot a little bit in front of you, lean forward, and move your hips towards the ground. So you basically just want to go forward, lengthening the hip flexor and just stretching it out. Now this is the very basic one. You've probably seen soccer players do this and athletes before they run, and this really improves the function of the quads and the glutes, because if your hip flexors are not firing properly, you're limiting yourself in all aspects. So this is a very basic one. This is like the beginner one to start with. I'm going to show you a more advanced hip flexor stretch. This one is a killer, so start off slow and see if you can do this. The first step is get yourself to a wall, and you want to put one leg flat against the wall, making sure that your knee is touching the wall as well, and your foot is flat. This is key. Now, the tricky part is getting up here and lifting this leg. So once you're in this position, you can either hold it here if you're finding that it's stretching a lot, because you'll find it extremely tight if you haven't done this before. Once you have a little bit more mobility, you can push your hips forward to the ground, closing this space. And this leg, this opposing leg that's up, just keeps everything safe. You don't want to overextend. So you can just move forward slightly and feel this pull. Once you get to a more advanced level, which I'm still not there yet, I'm I'm still working on my flexibility. I've had a huge problem with my hamstrings and hip flexors for a long time, and that definitely aggravated my TOS. So doing these 3 things in combination is going to make a huge difference in your psoas muscle. You're going to eliminate your back pain, you're going to get a bigger range of motion, and you're actually going to feel that when you're sitting down, you're getting deeper breaths in because everything is straight and neutral. Your psoas is not compensating and your QL is not compensating, pulling you forward. So once you've done these, click the link above, go watch the video on stretching your QL, because this is also a huge problem that people have and they don't even realize it. So stretch your psoas, stretch your QL, get them stronger and supple, and you will find that your general health, your lower back pain, whatever you're struggling with, the symptoms will definitely diminish, and you will feel so much better. So give them a try. If you have any questions, like usual, comment below, and I hope this helps you and you feel so much better.